I'm so excited to introduce you to 861 Grant Avenue in Glendale. This charming home has been completely redone meticulously with taste. We have about 1,412 square feet, listed at $1,249,000 in the heart of Glendale. We are just a less than 9-minute drive to the Americana brand, the Glendale Galleria, as well as a quick walk over to Golden Road Brewing, also called the Pub at Golden Road, and as well as Glen Oaks Avenue with all of its amazing shops, restaurants, little independent markets, everything you would need to live comfortably in a walking neighborhood. This is it. I'm gonna give you guys a quick tour of the neighborhood. I'm gonna give you guys a quick tour of the house, and DM me if you have any questions about this property. All right, so here we are on the street of 861 Grant Avenue. I just love how it's tree lined with the nice clean sidewalks. Great place to take a walk in the evening, in the morning, when it's not 98 degrees in the afternoon, but it's nice and quiet. Lots of pride of ownership. You can see that all of the neighbors really seem to care about their homes. Charming, everyone's keeping their lawns nice. Well, most people. There's always somebody in the neighborhood. And then here we've got 861 Grant Avenue. It is a corner lot, so you have a very spacious front yard. They've made one side of it drought tolerant, and then they gave you grass as well. So you have a little bit of a mix of both. And you can see this yard is very expansive. Somebody walking their dog over there. Here's the other side of the street. This is actually Grant Avenue. This is actually Grant Avenue this way. And this is Dale Avenue. Here we go. Let's take a look at this house. We have little walkways to get up to the front door, 2 separate ways depending on which side of the street you park on. I just love moments like this here with this Madagascar palm. I don't know if I'd ever really seen one of these, but look at these gorgeous blossoming flowers. They're so beautiful. Contrasted with this, I guess, evolutionary protective spikes that are on this tree. I just thought it was like one of the coolest trees I've seen. And then we've got this side of the house, which leads us over to the garage is here. I love how they added a little detail. We've got the wood paneling above the window. I always love a white with dark brown or black and lighter wood. I just love the contradiction of the contrast of all the colors. Really beautiful. And this is the 2-car garage. Would be an amazing ADU opportunity because you still have 2 parking spaces right in front. And obviously there's street parking in a neighborhood like this. Let me show you the front door real quick. Again, this is where I wanted to show you the wood detail. I believe that front door is made out of steel. It seems to be some sort of metal, which would be very good for preventing cracking. Let me show you this. With the lights on, looks really charming. I'm gonna take you on a quick little walk up the street so I can show you what your walk would look like on your way to Glen Oaks Avenue. We're in a really beautiful part of Glendale where there's gonna be mountain views when we get over there, and such a lovely tree-lined street that offers so much shade that even on this day when it is well over 90 degrees, I think you could probably manage a walk because of all the shade that's gonna be offered up here. Look at this neighborhood. Everybody really seems to love their home. There's a lot of long-term residents in this neighborhood. I've had people who have come to visit this house and told me they moved several years ago and wish they hadn't. That is a true story. So when I get to the end of this road, to the left, on the other side of all these houses, you're gonna find the Golden Road Brewery. And then to the right is where you're gonna have Glen Oaks Avenue. And right up ahead here is Highland Avenue, which is one of the main streets that cuts through from San Fernando to Glen Oaks. It's a really charming street with these very mature trees. Most of these homes were built in the late 40s, early 50s. And then we get here to Highland Avenue, and I just needed to show you how beautiful this street is. This is what you would be able to walk on every day as you try to get over there. That next light is Glen Oaks Avenue. With these big, I don't know what they are, oak trees. I'm the worst at knowing trees and plants. I actually have the Plantin app because I never know what plants are. But also, take a look at those mountains. They're a little bit of, I think they're actually called the Burbank Mountains, but that is such a beautiful view to walk in every day. I'm gonna take you back over to the house now and give you a tour of the inside. Because while this neighborhood is gorgeous, amazing neighborhood to begin, especially your first home, I think this would be an excellent opportunity. Your first home, or even a downsize. So all the homes, you know, are around that 1,500 square foot mark, between 12 and 1,800. Beautiful, nice green lawn. And if you live in California, you know how hard that is to keep green in the summertime, especially with our watering restrictions. I love how this house has the little pathway in between their drought tolerant plants that they've put in. Not sure if all of these are California natives, but they definitely all look like they're drought tolerant, which is always appreciated in an area like Los Angeles. We've got a pomegranate tree. This actually does belong to 861 Grant Avenue. And then it's got a couple of these bushes on it that kind of remind me of like sea coral of some kind. I just think they're cool. This is the side entrance to get to the backyard of Grant Avenue. But I'll keep taking you around to the front. There we go. 861. All right, as we enter, we've got this little, I guess you would call it a formal entry. It's this little nook, which is always just nice to not have people walk right into your living room, especially when you're getting like food delivered. Here's the coat closet. You don't necessarily want everyone who comes to your door, every delivery person, every guest to see right into your living space as they come in. So we've got this beautifully redone living room with recessed lights. I'll show you what the light's on. As I told you before, everything's been redone. We've got these light wood floors with vinyl, but they meant to look like wood. Double pane windows throughout. This fireplace is considered decorative, but I think it's so charming, and this wood mantle just added a really nice touch. And I like that they painted the inside black. So again, going with that black and white with wood, I'm never gonna get tired of that look. So here's the whole living room. Over through that way is gonna be all the bedrooms. First, I'll take you over here to the living spaces. We've got the dining room with the more mid-century modern light fixture, which is actually fitting to this house because that's the era of it. Even though it's technically a ranch home, we've got out here, taking a look at one of those sea coral looking trees. And then we've got this gorgeously redone kitchen, custom cabinets with the open shelving. And you know, we're always looking for more storage everywhere, but I really appreciate the airiness that shelving like this gives in a kitchen. And I also always am gonna love a farmhouse sink. Just so practical for washing, cooking, cleaning, everything. And obviously that's where the fridge will go. Over here is this little area with the mini fridge. Just every section of this kitchen was really used to the best of its abilities. And then we've got, and of course, you know, I'm never gonna not like the floors flowing throughout an entire house. Over here, through this little entryway, we've got this little nook that I love. Right behind that picture is actually an outlet. So this would be an amazing place to put your coffee maker, set up a whole little coffee bar here, maybe even your microwave so that it's out of your way, not in your main kitchen area, taking up counter space. So I'm always, you know, I love when things can be hidden. It's always a good thing. And then obviously we've got the washer and dryer over here. That is gonna lead us to the backyard. I might as well take you out there right now. A little seating area. This is definitely a low maintenance yard. We have tankless water heater, and then this charming backyard with super pristinely kept. Got a dog run over there with the brand new AC. Previous owners lived here for over 30 years without air conditioning. That is a guava tree, and I have to tell you, I've tasted the guavas and they are delicious. Over here is this is the back of the garage. And like I said, this leads us around to the side entrance as well, which takes us over here to the side of the garage. I will show you guys the garage as well. Like I said, this would make an excellent ADU if you have the option to do that. Let's come back around into the house. I'll show you guys the bedrooms now. So this is the first of the secondary bedrooms and the larger of the two secondary bedrooms. It's a pretty spacious sized area. I love the light that comes in here. It does have a, hey there, how are you? I do love the California slider, makes it easy and efficient, but this is great if you have like 2 kids in this room or just 2 people sharing this room. The closet's actually split in half. So you have that side over here. And then this over here. So that if you have one person who's messy and one person who's not, you don't have to see each other's stuff all the time if you don't want to. So here we got the hallway. This is the shared bathroom between those 2 bedrooms. Let me turn on all the lights for you. There we go. I love this. I don't know what that's called, like fluting? This texture that's on this cabinet. Just gives it a little bit, you know, that like Tulum vibe. And I always like a lit up mirror. Excellent for applying makeup. And this tile work gives it a little bit of like an organic feel because it's a little bit of like an imperfect tile. It almost feels like it's handmade. Maybe it is, I'm not sure. But I also didn't point out that I love the trim throughout the entire house. It's like this grayish color instead of just white. I really appreciate that there was a contrast color chosen on all the doors and all the trim. And again, there we've got the open shelving. Once again, giving it that like spa feeling. Feels like you're a little bit on vacation. Very cute. And here we've got the second of the secondary bedrooms. This is the smaller of the 2, but still a good size, not bad. It looks out into the backyard. And it also has the California slider closet. So I can take my glasses off, I'm inside. And now, last but not least, definitely not least, is the primary. This room has been set up with the bed over in this nook, which I think is super charming. When the owners first designed it, they had actually intended for the bed to go there, and they set those windows apart to be perfect for a king-size bed with 2 nightstands. But I think this is also quite charming. Kind of feels like a little cozier, a little, maybe like a little nook. But if you needed more space, then the other wall is obviously an option, and then you would put your dresser or your TV or whatever on that wall. And then in here we've got a custom walk-in closet, really nice. This was recently added on. And then this is the bathroom, which feels, I mean, super luxurious, super, you know, spa-like. And I love this tile. Looks like wood. It's not. It's a porcelain tile. And it kind of mimics the texture that's happening in these cabinets, which I love. So I love this brushed gold or brass hardware that's throughout both bathrooms. Hey there again. So this is the home. Coming back around to the living room. I mean, I wouldn't mind coming home to this every day. Look at that light. So beautiful. I'm Erica Spadio with the Pearson Cusack Real Estate Group at Berkshire Hathaway. And if you have any questions about this property or any other properties in Los Angeles and specifically the San Fernando Valley, please DM me. Let's chat. I'm happy to help with anything you need as far as real estate goes.